The life and legacy of Jarena Lee. Jarena Lee was born February 11, 1783 in Cape May, New Jersey, to a free black family. She was sent away from her parents and placed in domestic service, where she worked long hours and had little formal religious instruction during her childhood. Despite her spiritual loneliness, early impressions of sin and salvation began to stir in her spirit. In 1807, Jarena Lee moved to Philadelphia, a turning point that would mark the beginning of her Christian journey. Philadelphia was a growing center of Black religious life and abolitionist activity, and it was there that she encountered the preaching of Richard Allen, founder of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Under his ministry, Jarena experienced a deep spiritual awakening and conversion. Jarena's path to faith was challenging. She wrestled between her spiritual convictions and worldly desires, while also struggling to claim her calling in a male-dominated church, battles that led to deep depression and even thoughts of suicide. In 1811, Jarena Lee married Methodist pastor Joseph Lee and relocated back to New Jersey. Though she faithfully served alongside her husband in ministry, her own call to preach remained unrecognized. Even while active in the church, she carried the quiet tension of knowing God had called her to something, yet not being permitted to fully walk in it. 7 years after her marriage, Jarena Lee was widowed. In the midst of her grief, her calling did not fade, it intensified. She returned to Philadelphia with what we describe today as a fire shut up in her bones, determined to preach the gospel and boldly advocate for women in ministry. What had once been restrained by circumstance was now released with conviction, courage, and unwavering obedience to God's call. Jarena Lee preached boldly in town squares and in her home after Bishop Allen initially denied her permission to preach. Despite the restriction, she refused to silence her calling, proclaiming the gospel wherever she could with courage and unwavering faith. One Sunday at Bishop Allen's church, when a guest preacher faltered mid-sermon, Jarena Lee rose and continued the message with her powerful testimony. Her boldness moved Bishop Allen so deeply that he publicly affirmed her calling, leading to her becoming the first woman authorized to preach in the AME Church. Jarena Lee's ministry spanned more than 30 years, marked by passionate evangelism. She boldly connected her preaching with equal rights, advocacy, and leadership in the abolitionist movement. She broke down barriers for women in ministry, paving the way for generations of female preachers and leaders today. Before her death, she became the first Black woman to publish an autobiography in 1849, The Life and Religious Experience of Jarena Lee. Jarena Lee died February 3rd, 1864 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We thank God for the life, the legacy, and the paving the way of Jarena Lee.